morning, guys. It's Loren Cunningham-Hammond, trainer Loren here. So happy Motivational Monday. As you'll see at the bottom of the page, this is kind of my inspirational quote of the day. It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you just don't stop. So that is words of wisdom from Confucius. So as long as you're moving along in your day and you just don't stop, you know, anything is possible. So today we're going to talk about the tip of the week. And then of course, my favorite, the sales shout outs. And then of course, Medicare Advantage. So, you know, I hope you guys were playing along with my theme. Last week, we talked about the Medicare supplements. And the prior Monday, we talked about the most frequent questions asked about AHIP. So remember, in order for you to pursue those Medicare Advantage sales or the prescription drugs, you have to be AHIP certified. So let's talk about this tip of the week. So we have, through NatGen, the new bundle billing. So this went into effect last Friday. So this applies to all new National General Accident and Health multi-product sales. So the bundle billing will be applied to both monthly and single pay. So the bundle billing will not be available for that list bill sales. So with the new bundle billing enhancements, basically we're making life easier for your clients. So one single pay draft for your members' insurance, and then easy to understand billing that only needs to be set up once. So it's really convenient, it's easy. I did talk to a couple of our customer service reps here, and they said that prior to this, they got several phone calls, each of them daily, asking about all these bills on their banking statements. So now it's going to be all wrapped into one. So as you can see, it will be full transparency, which is important to our clients. So if you have been quoting a total premium of, say, for example, $110 for those multiple NatGen, it will now, and it's been multiple policies, it's just going to be now one billing that'll be withdrawn. So super easy, super transparent for our members to be able to not have multiple transactions and, you know, have that confusion, because I know I get confused. So let's talk about the sales of and the leaders of the week. Now, this is my favorite part because I've seen new names this week, which really means some people are pushing and getting those sales all wrapped up and set up together. So, of course, this is for the week of October 7th. Under the short-term medical, NatGen had the highest product placement. And then we have under the limited medical, we have the Foundation Health and Health Protect Guard. And then, of course, accident, we have the UHC Safeguard. Critical illness, again, NatGen. And then under the dental, we have the UHC Golden Rule. Now, for those leaders who just keep rocking it out week to week, again, I get to see some new names here. So that kind of pushes me and keeps me pumped, because I love seeing all your names. But when we have some new names in there, kind of adds a little extra spice to the situation. So you guys keep going with those sales. And remember, tomorrow is Medicare open enrollment. So, you know, for those of you that are AHIP certified, now is the time of year through, so October 15th through December 7th, you could be making some nice commission checks because of Medicare open enrollment. So under the STM products, we have Alexander Lewis, good job, keep it going. We have Jacob Gordon, congrats Jacob. And then we have Glenn Shane, keep it going, keep moving, great job Glenn. And then we have under the fixed, we have Katia Santa Maria, good job. And then we have Ken Kirkwood, Great job, Kent. And then we have Lakeisha McCoy. Great job. Keep it pushing. Keep those sales coming in, guys. I love seeing your names on here. And then under the sub, we have Glenn Shane. And then we have Andrew Orlikoff. And I beg your pardon if I did not see that right, but I'm assuming that's okay. If it's not, please email me and let me know otherwise. But you guys, great job. Keep it pushing in. Again, remember, tomorrow is October the 15th. So it's that Medicare open enrollment. So for those of you that are AHCP certified, you could make some really good money this time of year. So Medicare Advantage. So Medicare Advantage is kind of a scary subject for some people, and they just don't want to deal with it, which that's fine. I like to go outside of my bubble on the occasion, but for some people, it's not a big deal. So let's just touch on some facts that I have put together here for you. So with a Medicare Advantage, you have freedom. So you're going to shop your plan based on your needs, and you can do that on an annual basis, October 15th through December 7th. Now remember, those policies are going to be effective January 1. And then there's only one underwriting question. Unlike that Medicare supplement, unless you have the guaranteed issue time frame, but even then, ESRD. So ESRD is that end-stage renal disease. Some people that are on dialysis. There are specific plans for personnel under ESRD, and those are usually the special needs plans. So remember, those special needs plans are only going to be available in certain areas under certain insurance carriers. So remember, not all companies have them, or in areas that are more rural. I know that I moved from Northwest Montana, and Northwest Montana did not have an ESRD plan. But about 120 miles south of me in Missoula, Montana, they did have an ESRD SNP plan. So again, remember, region and area specific. And then if you'll note that ESRD question on the underwriting that you have right now, that's going away in 2021. So budget. The Medicare Advantage plan can have a lower monthly cost. So if you remember in our prior talk, last week we had talked about the Medigap and how a Medigap has personnel have a little more freedom. They can go where they want, when they want. There was no network. But under this, you will note that, yeah, some of these plans can be a lot lower under the Medicare Advantage, but some can also be higher. So remember, if you are looking at a Medicare Advantage for your insured, make sure that you do figure out a budget for them. Some areas do have more expensive plans because they're giving more of a benefit. It's a richer benefit, higher tier rating on that medications, as well as lower copays, lower deductibles. All of this can work into a budget. So find out where your insured is comfortable. So the insured is responsible for the deductibles and the copays. Now, typically speaking, if you have a lower deductible and a lower copay, you have a higher monthly premium. Same just like under the under 65 world, it can also apply. Now remember, again, area, region specific. And then again, if you look, you can pay as you use and need to use services. So for those personnel that are going to the doctor for their wellness checks, as well as, the occasional cold, things like that, they're only going to pay those copays just like in a supplement for what they need when they need it. In my opinion, a Medicare Advantage gives you some flexibility. But when you're selling a Medicare supplement, you know, also as some people will say a Medigap, you're providing a basic plan. I like to call it vanilla. In some cases, a Medigap plan is a safe way to go. But for all those extras that a Medigap plan is not covering, like that prescription drug, keep that in mind. That also adds up into the budget. So if you combine the two, you might, based on your insurance needs, meet or beat their budget requirements. So let's talk about some of the protections. Now, this is very important, especially if you have someone that has that cannot afford the MedSup plan, or even if they don't qualify. So you're going to look at a Medicare Advantage, but you also have to mention that there is an annual out-of-pocket protection. Now, keep in mind, it varies on each plan as well as carrier and region. Now, I know I sound like a broken record when I say that, but you know, what you might find in one county could be totally different in another. And then once they've reached that maximum out-of-pocket, which again is annually, they're then considered 100% coverage. Now, keep in mind that with the Medigap, you're going to pay a higher monthly premium to have less an out-of-pocket expense when you're using the coverage. But that higher monthly premium, in some cases, is worth the peace of mind if you're not using the coverage. But again, if budget is a factor, keep this in mind, especially that out-of-pocket. The higher the out-of-pocket and the higher the copay, you're going to be looking at a lesser premium, typically speaking. So remember, the current health status and family history should be considered. So if you have someone that has chronic health issues, like my husband's diabetic. Unfortunately, if he were of the age to receive Medicare, we would have to opt in to go with a Medicare Advantage, because his co-pays alone on his medications, as well as he has to go once a quarter to get blood work done to make sure that those medications aren't doing any damage to his other parts of his body, kidneys, liver. He has a tendency to have to pay a higher out-of-pocket every time he goes and has that blood work. In some of these Medicare Advantage plans, you can have a lower, but again, remember, once you've met that annual out-of-pocket maximum, you're 100% covered. So additional benefits. So most of those Medicare Advantage plans have extra coverage built into the plan. So like, you know, when you need that dental, vision, wellness, hearing. Now, please keep in mind, some of those benefits are very rich and some of them are not so much. Again, depending on premium, it could go up or down. And over-the-counter allowances for RX coverage is also available in a lot of these plans. Now, these plans are becoming more and more popular. Some people like to just stay where they're at. They don't want to go anywhere. They don't want to move around. Must be nice to have those people in your family. I don't. But like for my mom and dad, who we have family in the north of Ireland, so my mom and dad go quite frequently to see family. So Medicare Advantage is not working for them. That's why they have a MedSup. In their particular case, the MedSup is their way to go. So on the care management, and a lot of people don't realize this, Medicare Advantage plans assign each member a coordinated care advocate. So it's someone that works with them to make sure that they are receiving the proper health care, as well as facilities that can be recommended for, like, say, their diabetes and they need a pediatric, or excuse me, not a podiatrist to keep those feet under check. I apologize. But remember, this is just a built-in benefit. You don't have that with a med sup. And then, of course, those facilities work together with the patient with the hopes of improving outcomes and health. So in some cases, like a dear friend of mine, he has a Medicare Advantage, and he kind of sort of doesn't write down his doctor's appointments. So that coordinated care advocate actually stays on top of it and follows in and takes care. And, you know, thank goodness, because unfortunately, he doesn't pay attention to those kind of details. So you also have, with this advocate, better communication with your provider. So again, the doctor and the members. So not only is this ensuring the right level of care, but they've also found that since this has been implemented, that they have less chance of reoccurrence of people being admitted into the hospital. So let's talk about the stability. Medicare Advantage plans are becoming more and more popular. You know, if your family members or your loved ones who are of Medicare age, or your clientele who don't care to move around and just kind of stick around where they're at, again, because you have large insurance companies that are doing these plans, they're able to offer more and more benefits at less and less of a cost. So if you look, CMS and carriers are expanding benefits and lowering the cost. Lowering the cost to who? Well, that would be your insured. So keep in mind, just because that is a lower cost to the insured, that doesn't mean that it's a lower commission for you. And then we have that competitive market, which again is benefiting the customer. So Medicare and Medicaid, they look at the plans on a regular, and as they're looking at those plans, again, annually, they're looking at them and studying and seeing what the trends are and what the wants and needs for their customers are, and of course, creating accordingly. So you guys have heard, if you've been tuning into our webinars on a weekly basis, you've heard us talking about that donut hole. So no, not the kind you eat, it's the Medicare donut hole. So keep in mind, the majority of those Medicare Advantage plans offer assistance during that coverage gap. Now, especially if you're insured, could potentially qualify for that low-income subsidy, which you as can help your insured with. You know, if you go to Medicare website, or actually www.ssa.gov/prescription health, you can complete an application with your insured and see if they qualify right then and there, so that coverage assistance gap is also in there. And then remember that coverage gap, great news, will be going away in 2020, which is actually quite exciting. So the networks. So just like we have talked in prior times, we have HMO, PPO, POS, points of service, right? So with that being said, that's applying to the Medicare Advantage. So some carriers are nationwide, which expands the network. But remember that just like the HMO, the out-of-network is not the out-of-network benefits are only going to be taken care of in an emergency basis. And even then, they're going to be, again, if you have a cold and you're walking into the emergency room and you're 500 miles away, it is to the doctor's discretion, and they could turn your insured away. So again, remember those out of networks. If you're in an HMO, there are guidelines. It has to be emergency only. But under the PPO, of course, the co-pays are higher. But some of the plans, you'll notice, have a travel program built in, whether it's here in one county or going nationwide. And most of those MAs are now offering worldwide coverage for, again, a medical emergencies. But a lot of things that insureds don't know, and they need to know up front, is if you do opt to go with an MA plan or even a med sub plan for that fact, and there is a true viable medical emergency, your insured is responsible for payment up front. And then when they get back stateside, then they can submit reimbursement forms and it be handled accordingly. Fortunately or unfortunately, my mom slipped and fell back in Ireland visiting her sisters. And with that being said, luckily she did have the means to pay for her services that she needed when she fell and broke her wrist. And under an MA plan, it is also offered. But if this for me is a great selling point, especially if you know that your insured is not going to qualify medically for this supplement, but they do go out of the country on a regular basis to visit family. It's just an extra benefit. So, commissions. I know this is the most important part for a lot of you, but we are not selling what's benefiting our pocket. We are selling what is benefiting our insured, right? So, flat fee is set by CMS. So the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid, they set that up and then work with the insurance carriers accordingly. So commissions increase each year for new business and renewal. So it's not just that one-time payment. If you keep that business on your books, you're still going to get some payment there. So renewal commissions paid for the length of the policy or the lifetime. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So guys, I know I've been a little more long-winded on this one, so I apologize. But again, tomorrow is Medicare open enrollment. I'm super excited. This is the time for you guys to make some money. So again, if you guys have questions, you need advice on what plan is better for your insured, please by all means email the training box at training@ahcpsales.com and we'll get back to you. And again, if you need some assistance on what's best for your insured, email us. We're more than happy. Or you can call the agent services at the number below, 877-228-8773. So guys, thank you so much for spending part of your day with me. I know you're super busy and I appreciate you stopping and listening in on me. So I hope you all have a fabulous week. Again, thank you for stopping by and all the best with your sales, and Medicare open enrollment again is tomorrow. So good luck with those sales, and Nick will be back next week. So thanks for coming by and listening, and all the best. Talk to you guys soon. Again, problems, questions, concerns, email the training box at ahcpsales.com and so I'll get back to you as soon as possible. All right, guys, have a great remainder of your day and we'll talk to you when you need some help. Bye.